Doesn't it just wear you down? Like, you watch all of these videos on YouTube about how to manifest your dream life. You see people showing off their results, claiming everything changed because I scripted or I journaled or I just visualized the right way. So you try that. You do all of the things that they say, and yet your life doesn't really change at all. See, this is a big issue that we're currently moving through collectively, because some of you aren't here because you want more stuff. You're actually here because you potentially already tried to get more stuff. You got stuck in that version of pseudo-spirituality and it didn't work. And have you realized it yet? Whether you get what you want or not, it still leaves you feeling empty, a little bit unresolved, like something is still missing from your life. And there's a reason for that. You can go on your wild goose chase to manifest your dream life. You might even get it. But what you're really searching for in the gathering of all of these things is freedom and the feeling of being home. Now, there are three main things I want to offer you in this video. Three things that have become really clear in my journey and things that will become clear in yours once you stop chasing this external life and start listening and feeling into what is real for you. Firstly, after an awakening, the path splits. One leads to truth, the other one leads to more distraction, keeps you stuck, keeps you chasing and believing that you're making progress when actually you aren't, and so we're going to talk about that. Secondly, karma doesn't care what you manifest, but that karma is still going to need to be lived through and moved through in your life, whether that's internally or externally. And we're going to talk about that and what you might be able to do to be able to stop it from manifesting externally, especially if it's negative. And the final point, real spiritual growth always brings you back to reality, and we're going to show you how to do that and why that might be in your best interests, because we want some humility and we don't want to be moving further away from that, because that leads to disconnection and separation inside of ourselves. And it's sad to be separate from life. It's painful. So let's start with the diverging paths. After an awakening, the path splits. Some people go inward, some people go outward. Some people, they do both. And it's wonderful to be bestowed with a vision from life, something that you feel called to bring forth into the world. And I'm not going to take that away from anybody, believe me, I'm not. But I have found something on this path, and it's, especially if your vision feels spiritual, it's rarely smooth. Because without realizing it, we start saying to life at a certain point, and this is subtle, I don't think I really care anymore about truth. I don't really care about freedom. Just let me fulfill this purpose that I think I'm here for. And I think this is where a lot of people get trapped. Because it's so subtle. We believe we're in service to life, but often it's actually in service to this separate sense of self, not to life as a whole. And in that moment, we're no longer in alignment with truth. We've lost it, because truth says life has its own purpose. It's already moving. It's already guiding you. And maybe, just maybe, there are things that we might still need to learn before that vision can come through for us. Or maybe it was actually never meant to come through in the way that the limited mind could imagine it. And maybe it was meant to be bigger, different, but bigger. And that's a hard thing sometimes to accept, but it's also where real peace begins. Secondly then, let's talk about the karmic conundrum that we're all facing, because even after some kind of awakening or spiritual experience, there's still a massive storehouse of karma underneath it. And how much karma you carry, well, it's not a punishment, it's just kind of how much relationshiping do you have with the external world to satisfy? Like, how much attachment do you still have to things in the external world? It just seems to be the contract that you have with life. And that's what you're here to live through. So you can try and skip ahead, but karma really doesn't care what realizations you've made. It doesn't really care what experiences you've had. It still has to move through your life. It still has to be honored. And that's why, even after an awakening, many people still feel like they're being dragged, sometimes kicking and screaming through situations that they really thought they'd outgrown, or that they really didn't feel like they wanted to experience in this life. Now, you can play this stuff out in the world, and by Jove, if you don't get conscious, you'll have to. but you can burn it also out at the seed root, at the seed level. And that's what we've been working on in the Freedom Blueprint with our level 3 yogis, learning the inner process that allows karma to resolve internally, how we can burn it up at its seed root without having to play out every single story or attachment in the external world. But even that has limits. Some karma in you is just too strong. It has to manifest, and there's no escaping it. There isn't a shortcut, and what we're teaching here is certainly not spiritual escapism. Some things are just going to manifest. They are just going to happen. And that's not because you've failed or you're a bad person or you're wrong or you did something wrong, but that's because they were always going to happen. So if you recognize patterns that keep playing out in your relationships, in your career, in your projects, loss, longing, don't resist it, but understand that this is probably the karma that you're here to satisfy. And we can, through that, allow that to purify us. That's the work. That's literally our work. Which, of course, if we're willing, will lead us to humility. There's a natural humility and returning to reality that must occur if this spiritual journey is actually going to become anything more than avoidance. So, humility. Because after everything, an awakening experience, the chasing, the longing, the desire for purpose, wrestling with our karma, what you come back to all of the time and what it all gets dissolved back into is something incredibly simple. You come back into life. You come back into that primordial essence of life that you are. Not the dream version of life that the mind concocted, not the perfect manifestation, just life as it is. And that can be and often is, a very sobering experience. But there is peace there. And it's not sobering because life becomes dull or flat. Both the highs and the lows, they still come, believe me, and sometimes just as intensely, but they're held in a different state of being now. They rise and they fall within a deeper background of unwavering peace. It's a steadiness that doesn't remove the emotion, but it really allows the gripping that we do to life to subside just a bit. It allows a deeper space to be there, to hold you. You're held by life. You're supported in your existence. Even your pain, it has more space around it. There's joy there, of course, also, yeah. But the pain is also kind of met with a gentle peace, a gentle humor, so to speak, because you're seeing it all from somewhere quieter, somewhere really still. And that stillness is where you're connected to the creative force of life, to God, we might even call it. Because you are life, you're not separate from it. And because you realize that, and your cells agree with that, you're no longer trying to prove anything. You don't need to. What are you going to prove? Your life. You're no longer trying to transcend your humanness. You can be integrated. You're an animal. It's life. And you're just here, living it, living what's right in front of you, letting it be enough, allowing this moment to be lived through you because it's a great gift. And over time, that becomes the most honest kind of peace you'll ever know, and also the greatest adventure you'll ever take as you begin surrendering into life truly, but not in some kind of avoidant way, not in some kind of soft, I'm going to surrender into my stillness and then wait for life to save me. No. Fully surrendering into life. That's more of an active process than we've been led to believe. And I made a video about that right here, because there's a type of surrender that feels real, but that still is holding on to a little bit of control, that's still having an element of needing something from the world. And this is kind of a half-baked spiritual surrender. It's only halfway there. So I'm going to show you how to get the full way there in this video right here.